Hi, I'm Sophie, founder of Hearty Mums and your host for the Precious Plan, an initiative to support women who are planning for a baby in their 30s. In this inaugural online conference, we bring together a variety of experts who will share their insights on how you can improve your chances of conceiving a healthy baby and have an enjoyable pregnancy using natural methods to complement your journey. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing the lovely Sarah Manning. She's a senior yoga instructor and has taught yoga for 25 years in Singapore, Shanghai, and Australia, and focuses on fertility, prenatal, postnatal, active childbirth in yoga and teacher training. So, Sarah is on a mission to support optimal health, vitality, and well being through understanding, experiencing, and awareness building of the physical, energetic, mental aspects of the body. She also supports collaboration with medical and alternative healthcare professionals. Well, today Sarah will be sharing with us about yoga for fertility. So thank you so much, Sarah, for being with us today. Please tell us
My
a little
pleasure.
bit about yourself and what you're passionate about.
Well, hello. Yes, I've been teaching yoga now 25 years, but the whole journey started 25 years ago when I was pregnant myself. And so I did my teacher training while pregnant, but 25 years ago, they didn't have special labels describing this is yoga for pregnancy. It was just yoga supervised by a wonderful teacher. So all my teaching time I have spent focusing more on women and women's needs. So whether it is a woman facing fertility challenges or menstruation problems, pregnancy, obviously, postnatal, and it's not just the physical body, it's the emotional journey that they go on as they transition from being a woman to a mother. It's huge.
So I have heard about yoga and kids yoga, and as you mentioned, there was nothing like fertility yoga, and actually it's somewhat new to me, even. So can you please tell us more about fertility yoga, what it is, and who is it for?
Sure. So when I have a couple coming to me and they want to do some fertility yoga, I would encourage them to reach out and work in a group rather than just privately. But I do realize that it's quite a challenge to actually say to people publicly, we have an issue. So very often I'm working with privately with couples, and there are a few key objectives. The first objective is to move their bodies. Many of my students sit in a chair all day, and then they wonder why there is congestion of blood and energy in the pelvic area. And guess what? Where are our reproductive organs? They're in the pelvis. So the very first thing is about moving and getting energy and blood to travel through our key organs there. The other area, if we're sitting for a long period of time, very often we're sitting in not the best posture. And so our ability to breathe into the diaphragm and maximize our vital energy is depleted. And so the Chinese would say that your energy, your vital energy has to be optimal in order to be able to conceive. If your energy is low, then the body says, no, not just yet. I'm not strong enough to do this. I don't have any spare energy. So so the next step is to develop the habit of great postural awareness and the breath. So there's a lot of breathing in fertility yoga, trying to lift our vital energy. The other thing that I think is really important when I'm working with couples is to make it fun. And there is partner work where we use touch, this intimate time of touch to build up fun and a different energy of touch where we are trusting, where we are relying, where we are exploring. So the partner side of the fertility yoga is a huge amount of fun, and it, as I say, it brings them into a place of intimacy where it is totally non-sex, let's make a baby mental state. It is purely let's have some fun and have a go at something completely different and sometimes just a little bit silly, just to have a bit of fun. So there's that aspect. And then finally, we work on the mental and emotional body through the hormones. So if you are busy, 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 constantly on the go, very exciting life you lead, lots of phone calls, lots of meetings, lots of dashing here and there. But guess what? That entire, what you've created is a body of busyness and doing and goals and achievement. But getting pregnant's not like that. We need to switch off the busyness and the what we call the sympathetic nervous system, where we are constantly on the go and busy, and move into what we call the parasympathetic nervous system, where we rest, we restore, we heal. And so we do quite a bit of yoga where we are doing more like restorative yoga, where we focus on the breath and the mind. And it's about calming your entire nervous system down so that the hormones of stress switch off. So that's your cortisol and adrenaline, that stuff that keeps us on the high, the stuff that coffee feeds into. Yeah, so when we're feeling depleted, we reach for coffee, and that lifts again the adrenaline and the pump again. And we are then depleting our energy, internal energy, even further, because we're spending energy that we don't actually have. So it's about developing the habits of rest and restore, using breath and mindfulness, affirmations, visualizations, which are targeted at being open and receptive, welcoming that child into your life. So there's kind of like three aspects. There's the physical, there's the energy, there's the mind, there's the hormones. Four.
Wow, that sounds very interesting. I've actually not even heard of couple yoga. So it's a really wonderful practice that couples can come together in an intimate way, but different kind of intimacy, and have some movement and fun. I think sometimes they just forget that, and life just goes on and rushes on. So are there any special movements related to fertility yoga compared to conventional yoga?
I'm sorry, are there any special
movements? Like, how different is it from conventional yoga, or it's really similar?
Yeah, good question. So the yoga is yoga. Yoga works on your whole being. So when we stretch and open the front of the body, it obviously is strengthening some muscles, stretching others, and it's creating space in the belly, for instance, where the organs in the belly feel the impacts of that. It changes the way we breathe, and when we change the way we breathe, it changes the way we feel. So when we're doing a back arch and the chest is open, we feel powerful or perhaps vulnerable, but it's about being open and moving forwards with confidence or with vulnerability. So the yoga itself is yoga. You can do yoga anywhere, but the difference is we work on, there are let's put it this way, there are many different schools of yoga. And even within every school of yoga, there are many different teachers. And ultimately, a teacher teaches what they practice and what they know best. And my form of yoga is about nurture. It's about awareness building so that I optimize my alignment, my breath, and my daily life. And that's what I'm trying to teach.
Wonderful. Great. So one of the challenges for women who are planning to conceive could be fear. So how does an activity such as yoga support the mental, emotional wellness of these women, and why is that important?
Okay, yeah, fear is huge, as are many of the other emotions related to fertility. Let's not forget, many of the girls that come to us, they have been trying for some time, and some of them have conceived and miscarried. Some of them have miscarried very late in their pregnancies. So fear is only part of the emotional package that we're going to be experiencing. There's going to be anger, there's going to be frustration, there's going to be miscommunication between you and your partner. And so that creates, again, a further layer of angst and pain. So the emotional side of fertility is an absolute roller coaster. And I think when you then start adding onto that some of the medical procedures that are playing with your hormones will take you into an even deeper roller coaster of highs and lows. So don't underestimate. There's no silver bullets here. So when you go on your IVF journey, be prepared for a really big emotional effect. And in fact, I would say that was probably one of the most important aspects of yoga for a couple that's exploring fertility through the medical side of things, is gather the tools to protect and support you as you go through this journey. And yoga is one of them. So yoga is about coming to this moment. It's about being aware of the very small things that are happening in your body, in your breath, and observing the mind. When we can come to this moment, we are not thinking about yesterday and grief and all of that stuff from yesterday, and we're not thinking about the future. We're here. And so that gives us a sense of perspective. Okay. And the other thing is, by starting to develop those tools of awareness, we start to be able to recognize what is happening before we slip deep into a big slump of, whether it's anger or perhaps I should say anger is climbing up. But you feel it in your body. You feel the tightness in your shoulders. You feel the tightness in your belly. You feel your jaw tightening. And when we start to recognize that, then we can start, sorry, that's my phone. Let me just turn that on to silent. Once we start to recognize what is happening, then we can take evasive action, recognize it, and move ourselves on a different road, which is more loving, more kind, and supportive.
Wonderful. I totally resonate with them, with what you just said. I think a lot of times we're operating, in a cloud and rushing here and there, and it's just so important to find an exercise which brings you back to the present situation.
Yeah.
And just be aware and just explore. And when your mind is clear and open, you can actually think of the next step, and that's so important, rather than operating everywhere but not knowing exactly where to step next.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yes.
Wow, that's really great insights and sharing from you. I was wondering if are there any other common challenges for women that you work with that you would like to share with the audience, and how they can take care of this?
Okay, so women have completely changed their lives compared to their mothers and their grandmothers. We now expect a lot from ourselves. We study very hard at school, and we very often go to college. We then work really, really hard in our newfound careers. And that career path and that path of education was designed originally for men. And so you are not expected to honor your hormonal variations and fluctuations throughout your monthly cycle. I'm sorry, you're not allowed to be tired. You're not allowed to be in pain. You're not allowed to feel fatigued. You're not allowed to burst into tears. You're not allowed to express your emotions. during that period of fluctuation, which honors our cycles. And so if we negate and dismiss it, we are actively saying to our bodies, I don't need my breasts, I don't need my ovaries, and I don't need my womb. They are the enemy for my success. And so I believe this is part of the reason. If we spend 30 years working in that mental state of being, then we will see cancers and some of the big health risks that women face. And so I think it's really important for women to learn how to put boundaries, for women to learn how to express their needs very clearly, and to honor their needs. I think we have for too long tried to be something that dishonored our femininity and the needs of our own bodies. And so is there a big surprise when a woman reaches the age of 35 and comes to me and says, I want to get pregnant, and they're having problems? They've spent so long dismissing this. And then, and especially if they've been taking the contraceptive pill, which completely disrupts the natural cycles of the body. And so it takes a couple of years for your body to get used to not being on the pill and to reestablish its normal cycle. So I think the other thing is, the sort of last thing is, many young girls and women have the most excruciating menstruation, and they are just told that's normal. Just get on with it. It's not normal. And so when young girls and, sorry, I'm gonna really switch it off this time.
That's okay, no worries at all.
So when we have issues of menstruation, we need to get to the root cause of those issues of menstruation when we're in our teens, and not to mask it by taking contraceptive pill, which is completely messing up our cycle. So it never was established, it never was in a normal routine, and yet the pill covers that up, and then when we come off the pill, we expect it all to be normal. It's just not going to happen. So as you can see, I feel quite strongly that women have been abusing themselves and allowing that abuse for just far too long.
So many deep and profound truths that you've just shared. It's really a lot of, I think people know this, but they're kind of not acknowledging what you just said, and just, you know, taking the easiest way out, taking a pill or, you know, painkiller, anything, and just getting on with their life because society thinks, yes, this is the way you deal with the issue. And it's, without offending anyone, it's like, you know, the easiest way is to take some medication when you're sick without finding out what exactly is triggering your ailment.
Totally.
So it's really a lot of, truths over there. But certainly what I really resonate with you, with what you just said, is that women need to acknowledge themselves and be compassionate with themselves and just know themselves for who they are, and not something that society or what they want to match up with society and what's happening. Wow, this is really great sharing from you. Thank you so much, Sarah, for very wonderful, heartfelt sharing. So to the audience, if you would like to work further with Sarah, please click on the link below for more, to find out more. And finally, do continue to join us this week as we present to you more golden nuggets from our panel of experts. And here's to the best start for your baby. I'm Sophie, your host for The Precious Plan. Bye for now.